Hello, everyone. A battle of wits is unfolding between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Western leaders, including United States President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Following the Valdai Discussion Club Forum on October 7th, President Putin stated at a National Security Council meeting that Russia has gained over 5,000 square kilometers in the Donetsk and Lugansk regions in the first 9 months of the year. Western media outlets are attempting to understand why Russia, with its military potential reportedly 10 times greater than Ukraine's, has achieved what some consider limited gains. Experts suggest the answer lies in a strategic shift towards a complex political-military approach in the ongoing special military operation. Initially, Moscow appeared to believe that significant United States and Western intervention was unlikely, opting for a rapid advance on Kyiv, hoping to force reforms or a collapse of the Zelensky administration. However, the failure of the Istanbul negotiations in March 2022 signaled to Moscow that North Atlantic Treaty Organization, led by the United States through then British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, had pledged substantial support for Kyiv. The initial overwhelming surge strategy proved unsuccessful, with no widespread uprising in Kyiv or other major cities. Furthermore, Moscow perceived that Kyiv disregarded the Minsk 2.0 agreement after experiencing heavy losses in Debaltsevo against Donbas militia forces. According to sources, the Ukrainian government changed, and moderate Ukrainian voices were reportedly neutralized or forced to leave the country. The initial shock tactics having failed, Russia shifted to what some describe as a nibbling strategy. In what is seen as a proxy war, with the United States and the West using Ukraine as a vanguard, Russia decided to adopt a slow and steady approach to minimize losses while preventing North Atlantic Treaty Organization from deploying strategic weapons in Ukraine. This strategy involves gradual advances, eliminating enemy battalions, encircling brigades, and seizing control of cities. Experts note that this tactic of repelling step by step, defeating part by part, has been successfully employed by other nations in the past. Modern weaponry, including short-range surface-to-surface ballistic missiles and unmanned aerial vehicles, enhance the effectiveness of this approach. Russia is reportedly proceeding cautiously, combining military action with negotiations, leveraging time to advance and impose stringent conditions. Analysts suggest that the potential collapse of the Zelensky administration could lead to the United States and the West installing a more hardline leader, escalating the conflict. Instead, Russia appears to be waiting for instability within Zelensky's government and challenges within the United States and the European Union. Recalling Marshal Mikhail Kutuzov's observation regarding French prisoners of war in 1812, some experts believe that a similar fate, albeit in a different form and context, could befall the European Union if it fails to heed historical lessons. While direct intervention by North Atlantic Treaty Organization troops remains unlikely, the chief of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, Valery Gerasimov, stated that Russia is attacking along the entire 1,500-kilometer front line. The United States and the West have responded by increasing arms aid to Kyiv. President Trump recently indicated an openness to transferring Tomahawk cruise missiles to Ukraine, although the transfer route would likely involve sales to the European Union for subsequent provision to Ukraine. President Putin expressed concern about this possibility, stating that Washington's transfer of Tomahawks would represent a new stage of escalation and that Ukrainian soldiers would require direct U.S. military assistance to operate such weapons. Russia also affirmed that it would strengthen its air defense system if the United States transfers Tomahawks to Ukraine. This statement from the Kremlin serves as a reminder that the direct presence of U.S. soldiers in Ukraine would be considered a legitimate target. Russia also subtly referenced the United States Navy's past ineffective use of Tomahawk missiles in Syria. Pentagon officials have reportedly downplayed the feasibility of transferring Tomahawks to Ukraine, citing existing commitments to the United States Navy. Regardless of whether the transfer occurs, the United States president's openness to the idea suggests Western concern about a potential all-out Russian offensive, particularly on the left bank of the Dnieper River. With a substantial troop presence and superior firepower, the Russian army is reportedly taking the initiative along the front line, capable of launching attacks in any area. This suggests that the coming month could mark the beginning of a fourth winter campaign by the Russian army, while Kyiv forces are largely limited to defensive actions due to shortages in troops and weapons. Moscow's forces are reportedly continuing to push Ukrainian troops out of what they consider security buffer zones. This situation reflects the historical realities of warfare. The United States and the European Union have taken actions that Russia views as a significant threat to its security. The European Union, heavily reliant on the United States militarily and politically, has become integrated into Washington's strategic calculations, limiting its independent decision-making capacity on global issues, and, specifically, Ukraine. Russia's stated strategic military-political goals for the Special Military Operation, initiated on February 24, 2022, remain unchanged: de-Nazification, demilitarization, and neutralization of Ukraine. Western media extensively covered the activities of neo-fascist units like the Azov Battalion and others in the early stages of the war, organizations which sources indicate openly used symbols of Ukrainian SS units from World War II. In Kiev and other cities, displays of fascist symbols were common. However, in the third year of the conflict, United States and Western news agencies have reportedly reduced coverage of these groups. Consequently, the issue of eliminating neo-fascism is often avoided in negotiations between Moscow and Kiev and between Russia and the United States. As Vladimir Ilyich Lenin once stated, "Let the speakers be silent, invite Comrade Maxim to speak." In this context, Comrade Maxim refers to the PM-1910 heavy machine gun, a powerful Russian weapon used in both world wars. With diplomatic options seemingly exhausted, Russia may see military action as the only remaining path to achieving its strategic goals. The emergence of a political opportunity for peace remains uncertain, contingent upon a shift in the United States and the West's strategic thinking regarding Russia. A Zelensky regime without Zelensky in Kyiv, backed by the United States and the West, would likely be unacceptable to Russia. The prospect of peace may arise if tensions in the United States ease, leading to a corresponding de-escalation among anti-Russian elements within North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the European Union. The seeds of a socio-economic crisis in Europe, threatening to destabilize the region, could serve as a catalyst for such a shift. So, what do you think about Russia's strategy and the West's response? Is this a sustainable path, or are we headed for further escalation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this analysis insightful, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future in-depth coverage of global events.